What's going on, Vikings fans? This is Justin in Rochester with Purple and Gold for Days, and the playoffs are finally upon us. It is Super Wildcard weekend. Your Minnesota Vikings host the New York Football Giants in one of 6 matchups this Super Wildcard weekend. We're going to break down all the games quickly, as well as the main event that is your Minnesota Vikings and how they are going to get to the divisional round of the playoffs. Thank you kindly for joining me. We will be right back. All 6 wildcard games this weekend are rematches, 3 of which are 2 teams from the same division with Seattle, San Francisco, Buffalo, Miami, and Baltimore and Cincinnati. The first of the 3 matches of the divisional foes this weekend is the lid lifter for Super Wildcard weekend, pitting the Seattle Seahawks traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. Week 2, San Francisco was dominant, winning 27-7. The rematch ultimately went San Francisco's way 21-13, which saw a lot of Seahawks mistakes. After starting 3-4, the 49ers have won 10 games in a row, are in the hottest team in the playoff field. I'm sure we haven't heard that a few dozen times. With all that being said, while this is divisional foes game, and that does tend to lead to some familiarity, it is hard for me to see Seattle winning this game, despite how much we as Vikings fans would love to see Seattle win and keep us home in the divisional round of the playoffs. Next up, we have the Saturday night game pitting 2 quarterbacks making their playoff debuts, with Justin Herbert leading the Los Angeles Chargers into Jacksonville to place the upstart Jaguars. The Jags destroyed the Chargers 38-10 in week 3, then proceeded to lose 7 out of 9 games, including 5 in a row, but they have won their last 5, averaging 29.5 per. The Chargers had won 5 of their last 6 prior to the meaningless week 18 loss to the Denver Broncos. Vegas has this game as a pick'em, which is not all that surprising. It's going to be real fun seeing Justin Herbert and football Fabio Trevor Lawrence go at it against each other. I'm going to go with the Jags based on simply home field advantage and a West Coast team traveling to the East, but I think this is going to be a tremendous matchup. Next up, the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins meet for the 3rd time after splitting the first 2. Miami with a 2-point win in week 3, Buffalo with a 3-point win in the rematch in week 15, which means their point differential was 1, since that's another hot topic these days. Miami actually held an 8-point lead with 11 minutes left in the 4th quarter, but touchdown drives of 75 yards and a 2-point conversion, as well as a 15-play, 86-yard drive to kick the game winner as time expires, gave the Bills the victory. Miami has shown that they can run with the Bills when healthy, but without Tua, along with the home field advantage in Buffalo in January, I see the Bills winning comfortably. The Ravens and the Bengals wrap up games of division teams. Both won at home, but the Week 18 matchup didn't have Lamar Jackson, and due to the circumstances around Damar Hamlin, the game didn't really have any implications. The Ravens have been slightly above mediocre with Lamar Jackson, slightly below mediocre without him, and being that he is not going to play, I think it's pretty easy to pick that the AFC champs of last year are going to win this one. Monday Night Football will pit the 12-win Cowboys versus the utterly mediocre, below 500 division-winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who won a division that had all 4 teams with losing records. The Bucs did win in week 1, 19-13 over the Cowboys. Dak has been up and down and frankly has most of the narratives that surround Kirk Cousins surrounding him as well, be they fair or not. They're always waiting for Dak to fall short, just like they are Kirk. We're also waiting for Mike McCarthy to always bungle things because, he has a tendency to do that. I know it's Tom Brady, but even on the road, as unfair as it is that Tampa Bay gets a home game winning a garbage division, I'm going to take the Cowboys. But my co-host Mike Castellino on Mondays has said for weeks that Tampa Bay is going to win this game. And frankly, if Seattle does take down the 49ers, I hope to be wrong because I'd rather be facing Tampa Bay and Tom Brady at home than a rematch with the Cowboys. As dangerous as that is to be wishing for Tom Brady, but I'd love for the Vikings to be the team to send him into retirement. And now to the main event. The Sunday afternoon game faces our Minnesota Vikings rematching with the New York Football Giants. Chargers and Jags had 2 first-time quarterbacks. Well, this is 2 first-time head coaches. I will put the job that Dable has done slightly ahead of KOC, not by much, but the Vikings did have a bit of a more talented roster, so Dable has done a little bit more with a little bit less. But hey, it's awful close in rookie head coaches and the jobs that they have done. Vikings pulled out a dramatic late 27-24 victory. Kirk Cousins, 299 yards and 3 touchdowns, leading them on a drive to a walk-off game-winning 61-yard field goal. Justin Jefferson, 12 catches for 103 yards and a touchdown. TJ Hawkinson, 100-plus and 2 touchdowns versus the Giants. Dalvin Cook in the run game didn't do a whole lot, only 64 yards on 4th carries. I have said for a week and a half that Alexander Mattison needs to be more involved. I know we have that PTSD of the Seattle game a few years ago, but it's clear that Mattison at this point is a better goal line running back for me. Needs to be closer to a 65-35 split versus the 78-22 that it has been. Dalvin Cook is at 264 carries, Mattison only 74. Vikings offense hopes to look like it did versus New York and not Green Bay. Obviously, the Giants secondary must play better, specifically quarterback Fabian Morrow. In the game, he gave up 7 receptions for 84 yards and a touchdown, which is 142.6 quarterback rating against. He had the worst individual showing of all of the Giants DBs. The team collectively did horribly against Jefferson, but they get cornerback Adoree Jackson back this week, but it's hard to know what kind of impact he might be. KJ Osborne, Adam Thielen, and the rest of the pass catchers only had 9 total receptions, but that may change as the Giants shift their focus to Jefferson and Hawkinson. But with that being said, with the return of Irv Smith Jr., the Vikings still could find success in the passing game to tight ends, as they are bottom 5 in passer rating and rush yards allowed to tight ends are the Giants. It's quite simple. If the Vikings offensive line, walking mash unit that it is, can hold up and keep Kirk Cousins from getting killed, the Vikings should win this game. The Giants defensive line is one of the best in the league, and the Vikings offensive line is still shuffling the deck. Garrett Bradbury was a full participant in practice, so it looks like he should be ready to go. The Giants sacked Kirk Cousins 4 times and hit him 11. They're a very blitz-happy team, blitzing in over 40% of pass attempts, so the heat will be there with Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, Azeez Ojulari, and they form one of the best pass rushers in the league. Will they send the heat after Cousins as often as they did last time? Cousins faced the Giants blitz 21 times, beat it twice for touchdowns, and had a 122.1 passer rating, and has been good this season against the blitz. So it wasn't exactly a fluke, even though that's all the Vikings are this year is a fluke, apparently. However, the Vikings have since lost our right tackle, Brian O'Neill. His replacement, Ole Udoh, has been solid, but it did come against the Bears' JV squad. In any event, he does look completely different at the tackle spot than he did at the guard spot, where he struggled immensely. And we got to hope that Garrett Bradbury, who was a full participant in practice, will be able to see the field on Sunday. Both offenses put up numbers that game. Saquon Barkley a touchdown, 84 yards, 8 catches, 49 yards. Daniel Jones was 30 for 42 for 334 yards passing. The Vikings rested both Harrison and Zadarius Smith last week, and I believe for Zadarius Smith in particular, the extra time off will do him wonders. Since the Buffalo game, he suffered a knee contusion. So that extra time off should be able to stop Saquon Barkley and take your chances with a quarterback making his playoff debut on the road in US Bank Stadium. The world is on the side of this being another close game, and rightfully so. Both of these teams have combined 19 one-score wins, but this is when the Vikings finally win comfortably and by double digits, and they can tell the world to take that point differential and get lost with it. Vikings win this game 35-21. Giants, Nick Gates will hear how loud Minnesota nice really is. If all of this holds true, the Vikings will play San Francisco next week. But if somehow Seattle gets the W, the Vikings will host the winner of Dallas and Tampa Bay at US Bank Stadium in the divisional round, which, again, is what we all hope for. And I can all but guarantee you that's going to be a Sunday game, because there's no way that they're going to take the winner of the Monday night game and put them on a Saturday. That's going to do it for this preview show of Wildcard Weekend. Skol Vikes, let's win this game and move on to the division round of the playoffs.